Welcome to Storytellers with a Message. This is where I share real stories about real people. I'm Lori Grant, and I'm committed to capturing the moments and lessons that shape our lives. Together, we'll explore stories that teach, inspire, and remind us that everyone has a story worth telling. Growing up in San Diego, we found the beach to be our playground. Being a local kid, we knew the ins and outs of beach life. We knew the best time to hit Jack in the Box for lunch. We knew the best surfing spots and how to manage beach parking. As a younger child, I remember my parents talking about the parking issue. But of course, it wasn't a concern of mine until the summer of my 17th year, when I started driving to the beach myself. Before that, my mom would drop us off at the mall, and we would take the city bus to the beach. It took about 45 minutes, but we didn't care. We'd get off the bus at Pacific Beach, carrying our beach bags and towels, and then we'd walk the 2 miles south to our beach, South Mission Beach. Those long walks from Pacific Beach to South Mission taught us more than we realized. Patience, independence, and the joy of claiming a place that felt like ours. It was when we were in high school and started driving ourselves to the beach that we quickly realized the tourists took over our beaches, as well as our parking spots, from June to August. But we also learned that the trick to beach parking was to get there ahead of the crowd. Definitely no teenage beach bum is interested in getting to the beach at 10 a.m. But if you're serious about your commitment to the sun and the sand, you've got to make a few sacrifices. You must get there about 2 hours before the sun burns through the clouds, which is most often around noon. Usually we had either 2 or 3 carloads of kids headed to the beach. We would take turns being the early riser, and that car would be the designated car to get to the beach by 10. Because we were now driving and not busing, we had the luxury of packing beach chairs for the day. That was the critical component of the special formula. When the early car got to the beach, we would park, unload the chairs, and set them up in the middle of an empty space, and then have a seat, saving the spot for our friends who would arrive about an hour or so later. We never waited much more than an hour, but we did have to deal with an occasional frustrated tourist who might roll their eyes when we said that we were saving the spot. Well, years later, on the opposite coast, I found myself witnessing a moment that reminded me just how much those early beach lessons stayed with me. We were walking along Beach Avenue where parking was scarce, and the only option was parallel parking spots that were lining the street. It was a busy end of summer, Labor Day weekend, I think, and people were everywhere. They were strolling and chatting and soaking in the last warm days. As we walked, a man's raised voice suddenly caught my attention. There was a man leaning out his driver's window, yelling at a woman who was standing in a parking spot, saving it for her friend who was en route. This man was having none of it. He put his car in reverse and started to back into the spot, telling her he was going to park there whether she liked it or not. She did not move. He inched closer and closer, assuming he would intimidate her or scare her off. He was sure she would move rather than let him run her down. She did not. She quietly stood her ground. Her face was calm. Her hands were resting on her hips. He came within inches of hitting her. Now, oncoming traffic was piling up as the man continued to yell at her. The drivers behind him impatiently waited for him to move his car and were getting annoyed that they couldn't continue down the narrow street. The woman did not speak. She simply did not budge. Well, eventually the man said something rude to her and moved on, as did the traffic waiting behind him. Well, this is not about who had the right of way or whether it was okay for her to save that space. More importantly, this is about the way the woman responded to the man who was incredibly disrespectful. She held her ground, and she was kind. She did not engage in the fight or react in the same way she was being treated. And in the end, Her strength and courage and resilience proved to be beneficial. In this case, less was more. So here's my message. There are bullies all around us trying to make us do life their way. Many of them believe they are always right, and everyone around them is wrong. Some are quite convincing, and some are downright demeaning as they try to persuade, manipulate, or school us, particularly if we do not agree with them. So be on your guard for those situations in life that will prove to move you away from being the person you want to be. Stand your ground, stay the course, and keep your eye on the goal, but always try to do it with respect and grace. Just like saving a parking spot on a crowded summer day, holding your place in life takes patience, courage, and a whole lot of grace. This has been Storytellers with a Message. If you enjoyed the show, please hit the subscribe button and leave a review on your favorite podcast app. It truly helps others find the podcast. And if you have a story to tell, I would love to hear from you. You can email me at storytellerswithamessage@gmail.com. To explore my children's books or learn more about my work, visit www.loridgrant.com. Until next time, I'm Lori, wishing you joy and peace.